And we're back, folks. I'm your host, BKP, the voice of rural America. North Georgia's only live online morning show. We thank you for tuning in. We appreciate, just want to give a shout out to maybe several, but our viewer in Connecticut yesterday. Somebody said they were watching out in Tennessee, and then somebody went right underneath there and said, well, I'm watching in Connecticut. So we'll give the shout out to Connecticut this morning. Also on FetcherNews.com, FYNTV.com. Get in touch with us. I mean, I'm going to tell you, if you've lost your pet, you want to talk about all the things we do in the course of a day in North Georgia. I talk about the Paris Climate Accord. I talk about Brennan, the C.I.A. I talk about all these things. We go and we do all kinds of stories in North Georgia and the counties that we cover. But something that we really enjoy being able to do is help you find your pet. And I'm serious, social media, and people will send us pictures of their oh man, how can I do this? We'll even help you find your cat. That was tough. That was tough. Let me regain composure. Anyhow, but your dog, we will. I didn't say anything about the kitty cat. We will help you. We'll help you. Okay? We will help you find your cat. But if Rover is missing, please contact us. Send us a message. Find us on Facebook. Send us a message. Send us pictures. Because what we really enjoy is when people contact us and we send. I'm looking at one right now, and this individual sent us a picture and said, you know, this has been her companion for years. And it's really a joy when we actually get the messages and say they found them. So just want to shout that out. Please don't hesitate. Let us, here's our slogan, let us help you find your pooch today, okay, at FYN.
That was a squirrel.
You like that?
No, you just went totally curveball from where you said you were going.
I'm going to right now. Now here are three people that these are the three Obama wise men, women, wise asses, whatever they are. Put that picture up. Okay. Susan Rice. Now, we know he will not lie. She will not lie. We know that, right? Okay. And John Brennan and Samantha Powers. Okay? Now, congressional subpoenas to intel agencies seeking information about unmasking requests. All right? This is the only, please be clear on this. This is the only place there's any evidence. This road here, it's treason. You heard it on the morning shows. It's treason that these leaks are showing up. The unmasking of American citizens showing up in the New York Times and the Washington Post. This is wrong. Right here, Susan Rice, John Brennan, and Samantha Powers. Now, pull up Samantha Powers. In the spotlight is Samantha Powers. Who is Samantha Powers? She's the former, what is she again?
Former UN ambassador under scrutiny for unmasking.
Yeah, her unmasking role. She's the former UN ambassador, right? Why? People are confused on this one. They keep saying, why her? They understand the Susan Rice. Why Samantha Powers? So let's go to that video that has the times. We're going to have two clips. I might say, come back to me. And then when I say, come back to me, Sam, then we're going to go to the second time. This is Trey Gowdy. Remember, a good prosecutor knows where they're going. And they know the answer when they ask it. Let's go to that video and start at that time.
Utah, Director Brennan, why is it important to protect the identity of U.S. persons as part of our surveillance programs?
Because there is, I think, a right of all Americans to privacy, and that sometimes information is collected about U.S. persons who may or may not be involved in any manner of criminal activity. and therefore respecting that privacy of U.S. citizens, the intelligence community goes to great lengths to cover the identities of U.S. persons if they happen to be included in an intelligence collection.
For all those reasons and others, and again, we're not talking about leaks. We're talking about masking within the intelligence community, right? We're not talking about reading it on the front page of newspapers. We're talking about prohibitions that you place on yourself with respect to identifying U.S. persons as part of our surveillance programs, right?
That's correct.
All right.
Yes.
And you just cited some of the very important reasons that we do that, and I would assume that there is a process, a protocol under which the intelligence community goes through if they seek to unmask a U.S. person's name.
That's correct.
Have you ever requested that a U.S. person's name be unmasked?
Yes, I have.
Have you also either approved or denied requests of others that a U.S. person's name be unmasked?
I don't recall in my tenure at CIA any decision on unmasking for someone else coming up to my level. It would have been, that decision would have been made at a lower level within the agency.
Are you aware of any request within the
Brennan's not happy, okay? Never are they comfortable and happy when Trey Gowdy, because Brennan knows that every single thing Trey Gowdy asks him, that's the representative from South Carolina, okay, he knows, all right, that everything asked of him, Trey Gowdy knows the answer. So we're talking about the importance, how important it is, your privacy. Yes, I have unmasked American citizens. Yes, I have. Why is it important to respect the privacy? Your privacy as an American. Now, why is Samantha Powers? Okay, listen to this next clip.
At CIA, any decision on unmasking for someone else coming up to my level, it would have been, that decision would have been made at a lower level within the agency.
Are you aware of any requests within the community that were denied?
I do not. I didn't have visibility into requests that were being made across the government, so I don't recall one that I was denied.
Do you recall any U.S. ambassadors asking that names be unmasked?
I don't know. Maybe it's ringing a vague bell, but I could not answer with any confidence.
Do you remember what your last day on the job was at the CIA? What was the date?
It was noon on January 20th when I gave up my responsibility as director of CIA.
On either January 19th or up till noon on January the 20th, did you make any unmasking request?
I do not believe I did.
So you did not make any request on the last day that you were employed.
And I could say, I want to hear it again. Okay, now folks, wait. I want to hear something again. I want you to listen to it again. Now that you know the clip, I want you to listen again to Brennan and just one more time, okay, and then we're going to talk about it, all right? You heard the subpoenas that went out, okay? These are actually the offenses that people could go to prison, all right? Hopefully. There's no smoke. This is all evidence. So let's go with that one more time right where it's at. Just takes a minute to hear Brennan again. I want to hear something else.
Hold on, I have to reload it.
All right. Just give me So, are you aware of any U.S. ambassadors? Go ahead, Sam.
Are you aware of any requests within the community that were denied?
I do not. I didn't have visibility into requests that were being made across the government, so I don't recall one that I was denied.
Do you recall any U.S. ambassadors asking that names be unmasked?
I don't know. Maybe it's ringing a vague bell, but I could not answer with any confidence.
Do you remember what your last day on the job was at the CIA? What was the date?
It was noon on January 20th when I gave up my responsibilities as director of CIA.
On either January 19th or up till noon on January.
Sam, I want to ask you something because I want to check myself. When he asked about any U.S. ambassadors, did Brennan say that is ringing a vague bell?
Yes, he did.
Okay, just double check it. Because the last thing I want to do is give you false information. Let's put Samantha Power's picture back up. Okay? Her role, former UN ambassador under scrutiny for her unmasking role. Spotlight on Samantha Powers. Do you recall denying any request for unmasking? No, I don't recall. Has any U.S. ambassadors made a request to unmask an American citizen? Has there been an unmasking request from a U.S. ambassador? That is ringing a vague bell. Put up the 3 criminals. I'm going to call them criminals. They're not alleged in my book, okay? Wonder why Brennan has a subpoena. We're going to try to get to the bottom of Brennan's vague bell that's ringing. His bell's going to ring all right when Trey Gowdy gets done. Samantha Powers. We're going to go from vague to what she did. And Susan Rice, just saying, nothing left to be said there, right? Okay? So, now, these 3 have subpoenas. Been given subpoenas out of 7. I think 7 subpoenas were. The other 4 issued yesterday are for made up, smoking, hoping they could tie something together in the Trump administration. Obama's administration was doing everything behind the scenes. They've been doing everything they can to try to bring Trump down and prepare for June 20th. You see, let me just say this, while Trump was preparing through transition for June 20th, the inauguration, Obama was preparing for Trump for a long time. And you're going to see that right there, Samantha Powers. Now, let's go to those are the let me do this. Let me set up my next set here. I wanted to go with that, okay? Because we're going to come back and we're going to talk about the FISA court, all right? The FISA court finds serious Fourth Amendment issues, all right? Fourth Amendment issues. This is what they're talking about right here, okay? We're talking about that. I want to come back. I want to set that up. I also want to talk about I had another one here. Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act. The Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act of 1978. It's known as the FISA court. It is a United States federal law which prescribes procedures for the physical and electronic surveillance and collection of foreign intelligence information between foreign powers and agents of foreign powers suspected of espionage or terrorism. Okay? We talk about, you keep hearing the FISA court. We're going to talk about that and when we come back. Sam, take us a break and let me set up a couple more things. Yes. And we're back. Good morning from the office, North Georgia's only live online morning show. I'm your host, BKP. We're trying to, every once in a while we do a show where we try to put some stuff together because we're tired of hearing about Russia and no one will report the news. So Trey Gowdy gets Brennan And it vaguely rang a bell to John Brennan. Vaguely rang a bell, okay? So he corners him there about a foreign ambassador. Now, the media today, you will hear more times that there's confusion around why a subpoena with Samantha Powers, okay? That you have probably heard several times already, but we know Brennan opened that door. It vaguely rings a bell, and he knows. I told you, Brennan, they cringe. Now, Comey's ready to testify. We're going to put this all together because Comey's ready to testify. This is what they have. When I say they, okay? So do you have the video on Comey? It's like 50-some seconds.
Yes.
Yeah, play that one, okay? This is under oath, folks. Obviously, the FBI doesn't understand under oath, okay?
44 seconds, okay.
The way you would want it. But yeah, we work with the Department of Justice on all of our investigations.
So if the Attorney General or senior officials at the Department of Justice opposes a specific investigation, can they halt that FBI investigation?
In theory, yes.
Has it happened?
Not in my experience, because it would be a big deal to tell the FBI to stop doing something that without an appropriate purpose. I mean, we're oftentimes, they give us opinions that we don't see a case there, and so you ought to stop investing resources in it. But I'm talking about a situation where we were told to stop something for a political reason. That would be a very big deal. It's not happened in my experience.
Sometimes they give us their opinion. Hey, I don't think there's anything to this. Sometimes he's under oath. Sometimes they give us their opinion, okay? There's not a, well, I say there's not a legal mind. MSNBC is stacked full of Harvard and the list goes on. Legal experts, they're stacked full of them that are, analyzing this obstruction of justice. But in they can give their opinion, okay? Has it happened? Has it happened? Not to my experience, no. Nobody's told us to shut down any, okay? All right, this is what they think they have. The liberals are waiting for Comey to come in. They can't wait for Comey to come in, right? Can't wait. Now, did Trump sit there while he was eating his 2 scoops of ice cream and say, this General Flynn thing, God, I hope this thing ends soon. Boy, I hope this thing could go away. I don't know, maybe he did. I would have. No crime. No crime. No directly asking James Comey, you're going to see in the testimony, okay? And then Comey only has his notes, that we still only have a source that has leaked that to a newspaper and has read a copy. A close person to Comey has read a copy to the New York Times, a source. That's all we have. We haven't seen the memo, okay? Maybe the memo will show up. And all it is notes, all right? So, no, they could give us opinions. Comey says he made it sound like, yeah, we hear everybody's opinion, it happens. That's going to happen. But no, not in his experience has anybody actually said, don't investigate anymore. See, that's the split hair. If Donald Trump would have called him in and told everybody to leave the room, everybody out, and looked at him and said, James, tomorrow morning I want this to end. I want it over. I don't want another minute of the FBI's time spent on this investigation. Are we clear? That's a problem. And Comey would have come out and said that, but not to his experience. Now, that's what the Democrats have right there. That's what they have. They have Jeff Sessions and Kislyak. My God, I didn't know Kislyak ran the world till recently, all right? They got the Russian ambassador, Kislyak, okay? They got Russian bots Hillary's crying about. Now, let's go to Trey Gowdy's video. We're going to break this down. Folks, we're working on this all morning long. Let's go to the other one. Now, this is 5 minutes, so we'll probably stop it from time to time. But if you remember in this show, before you go there, Sam, I have said multiple times, this is the day that ended James Comey. I know you're saying July 5th, July 5th. I understand. But this is the day, okay, right here. And you're getting ready to find out the unmasking, those three. See, they won't let Carter Page testify. I'm going to tell you why in a minute. Those three, Susan Rice, Brennan, and Samantha Powers, right? Unmasking. FISA court. What did Kimberly Strassel say? Are we divorced from reality here, folks? So let's play Trey Gowdy, and I'll tell you when I want to stop. When I stop it, if it freezes and you got to reload, whatever you got to do. But let's play Trey Gowdy, and then I might come back to me, and then we'll go back to the same place. Okay, Sam?
Admiral Rogers said there are 20 people within the N.S.A. that are part of the unmasking process. How many people within the F.B.I. are part of the unmasking process?
I don't know for sure as I sit here. Surely more, given the nature of the FBI's work. We come into contact with U.S. persons a whole lot more than the N.S.A. does, because we may be conducting, we only conduct our operations in the United States to collect electronic surveillance, to conduct electronic surveillance. So I can find out the exact number. I don't know it as I sit here.
Well, I think, Director Comey, given the fact that you and I agree this is critical, vital, indispensable, a similar program is coming up for reauthorization this fall with a pretty strong headwind right now, it would be nice to know the universe of people who have the power to unmask a U.S. citizen's name, because that might provide something of a roadmap to investigate who might have actually disseminated a masked U.S. citizen's name.
Sure, the number is relevant, but what I hope the American people will realize is the number is important, but the culture behind it is, in fact, more important. The training, the rigor, the discipline. We are obsessive about FISA and the FBI for reasons I hope make sense to this committee, but everything that's FISA has to be labeled in such a way to warn people, this is FISA. We treat this in a special way. So we can get you the number, but I want to assure you the culture of the FBI and the N.S.A. around how we treat U.S. person information is obsessive, and I mean that in a good way.
Director Comey, I am not arguing with you, and I do agree the culture is important. But if there are 100 people who have the ability to unmask and the knowledge of a previously masked name, then that's 100 different potential sources of investigation. And the smaller the number is, the easier your investigation is. So the number is relevant. I concede the...
Okay, now folks, Comey's telling him, Trey Gowdy, who has the ability to unmask? N.S.A., C.I.A., F.B.I., Maine Justice, White House? Can as collectors to unmask? No. The FISA. Now, did you listen to how serious James Comey, former director of FBI, said, FISA, we're obsessive. We are obsessive over FISA. Okay? So let's go there just a minute. Okay? We told you earlier, FISA is the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act. The Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act. The act created a Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court. It's a FISA court. So you keep hearing over and over FISA court. To oversee request. Oversee request. You got a request. They're obsessive with this, he says, okay? Oversee requests for surveillance warrants by federal law enforcement and intelligence agencies. And who was in charge of intelligence agencies? Let's see, would Clapper lie? Would Brennan lie? Susan Rice? It has been repeatedly amended since September 11th attacks. Now, let's go to this. We're just going to touch base on some of these, okay? FISA court finds. Now, this is the FISA court. This is a court. Finds serious Fourth Amendment issues in Obama's widespread illegal searches of American citizens, right? A newly released court order from the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court, FISA, found the National Security Agency under former President Obama routinely violated Americans' privacy protections while scouring through overseas intercepts. U.S. Ambassador, okay, overseas intercepts, John Brennan, okay, American privacy protections while scouring through overseas intercepts and failed to disclose extent of the problems until the final days before Donald Trump was elected president last fall. They were getting ready, folks. Obama has been getting ready for this takedown. We have to get together and understand what was taking place. In describing the violations, the FISA court said the illegal searches conducted by the N.S.A. Is that John Brennan? I don't know if that was John Brennan. He's C.I.A., N.S.A. Oh, hell. We've got so many agencies. Conducted by the N.S.A. under Obama were widespread and created a very serious Fourth Amendment issue. These new discoveries came from recent unsealed FISA court documents dated April 26, 2017, a center around a hearing dated October. Okay, Trump's, let's see, the court apparently learned for the first time of the widespread illegal spying on the American citizens by the NSA under the Obama administration. Okay? The NSA analysis had used U.S. person identifiers to query the result of internet upstream collection, even though NSA Section 702 minimization procedures prohibit such queries. This disclosure gave the court substantial concern. They warned Obama's administration. When you read this entire article, FISA court warned Obama. They were serious. They were upset over this. They went to the administration. Susan Rice knows this was a problem. Susan Rice knows that the FISA court was upset. Susan Rice, John Brennan knows. Okay, this is exactly what Trey Gowdy's talking about. Remember, the day I played this video months ago, I told you Trey Gowdy got them with Comey. FISA court, who has the... I remember, how many times have I played who has the authority to unmask? I said, this is the only thing. I remember the day on the show I said, this was the only evidence at all that day. Only thing. Everything else was just sources. Okay, so let's go back. We talked about the FISA court. Let's go back to Trey Gowdy just for a minute.
Relevant. I concede the culture is relevant. N.S.A., F.B.I., what other U.S. government agencies have the authority to unmask a U.S. citizen's name?
Well, I think all agencies that collect information pursuant to FISA have what are called standard minimization procedures, which are approved by the FISA court that govern how they will treat U.S. person information. So I know the N.S.A. does, I know the C.I.A. does, obviously the F.B.I. does. I don't know for sure beyond that.
How about how about Maine Justice?
I mean, Maine Justice, I think, does have standard minimization procedures.
All right, so that's four. The N.S.A., F.B.I., C.I.A., Maine Justice. Does the White House have the authority to unmask a U.S. citizen's name?
I think other elements of the government that are consumers of our products can ask the collectors to unmask. The unmasking resides with those who collected the information. And so if Mike Rogers' folks collected something and they send it to me in a report and it says U.S. person number 1, and it's important for the FBI to know who that is, our request will go back to them. The White House can make similar requests of the FBI or of N.S.A., but they don't on their own collect, and so they can't on their own unmask. I got that about right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah.
I guess what I'm getting at, Director Comey, is you say it's vital, you say it's critical, you say it's indispensable. We both know it's a threat to the reauthorization of 702 later on this fall. And oh, by the way, it's also a felony punishable by up to 10 years. So how would you begin your investigation, assuming for the sake of argument that a U.S. citizen's name appeared in the Washington Post and the New York Times unlawfully? Where would you begin that investigation?
Well, I'm not going to talk about any particular investigation.
That's why I said in theory.
You would start by figuring out, so who are the suspects? Who touched the information that you've concluded ended up unlawfully in the newspaper, and start with that universe, and then use investigative tools and techniques to see if you can eliminate people or include people as more serious suspects.
Do you know whether Director Clapper knew the name of the U.S. citizen that appeared in the New York Times and Washington Post?
I can't say in this forum because, again, I don't want to confirm that there was classified information in the newspaper.
Would he have access to an unmasked name?
In some circumstances, sure. He was the Director of National Intelligence, but I'm not talking about the particular.
Would Director Brennan have access to an unmasked U.S. citizen's name?
In some circumstances, yes.
Would national...
Okay. Would Brennan have access? Now, we're going to come back right there. In fact, I want to back that up like 8 seconds. And I'm sorry to, Sam, you do an outstanding job trying to keep that together. Now, could you do me a favor and put up Carter Page's picture? Carter Page, Russia investigation will unearth Obama administration falsified FISA warrants against me. Okay, this is Carter Page. Now remember, we're talking about FISA court. We're talking about Obama's administration in trouble with FISA court. Okay, Carter Page was scheduled to come and testify before Congress. They canceled. See, this story about FISA court. Remember, I got to tell you, my new hero here, Kimberly Strassel. Okay, Kimberly Strassel from the Wall Street Journal, and I tell you, I think she's probably had a really rough week. So, Kimberly, I know you probably had a really rough week from Sunday because you told the truth. And when you tell the truth on MSNBC, NBC, or any one of those fake news outlets, all hell breaks loose. But she told the truth, and she said, wait a minute, we had a very big story, you know, Obama and the FISA court and the Fourth Amendment, and we had a big story everybody's glossing over. Well, that's about the time Carter Page didn't hear back on the date and time that they wanted him to testify. The reason Flynn and Carter Page, they will not probably bring these people up to testify, and it is a witch hunt, they don't want to hear it. Carter Page, the American oil industry consultant, he's the American oil industry consultant who was, I cannot pronounce that word, man. I ain't chancing that. And briefly associated, okay, I can, but I'm not going to mangle it up. And briefly associated with Donald Trump, presidential campaign is calling out U.S. officials who may have been behind highly damaging leaks about him to news media, alleging the leakers committed felonies. In a letter to the House Select Committee on Intelligence and a follow-up email interview with Breitbart News, Page contended that the leaks come with a silver lining. He charges that the episode will expose the Obama administration's use of false evidence to obtain a foreign intelligence surveillance court warrant to monitor his personal communications. Okay? I got a lot more on Carter Page. This is it. Russia, Kislyak, okay, I'm sorry. I can't go with that. They just have to come out with something solid to change my mind. Right here. Now, let's go back to Trey Gowdy just for a minute at that point, and we got about a minute and a half, and now we're going to start finding out who can unmask some of these names. Remember, FISA court's important here, okay? And we know the Obama administration's in trouble with the FISA court and what they were doing illegally, okay? So let's go with it. Let's go with this.
Clapper knew the name of the U.S. citizen that appeared in the New York Times and Washington Post?
I can't say in this forum because, again, I don't want to confirm that there was classified information in the news.
Would he have access to an unmasked name?
In some circumstances, sure. He was the Director of National Intelligence, but I'm not talking about the particular.
Would Director Brennan have access to an unmasked U.S. citizen's name?
In some circumstances, yes.
Would National Security Advisor Susan Rice have access to an unmasked U.S. citizen's name?
I think yes, in general, and any other National Security Advisor would, I think, as a matter of their ordinary course of their business.
Would former White House advisor Ben Rhodes have access to an unmasked U.S. citizen's name?
I don't know the answer to that.
Would former Attorney General Loretta Lynch have access to an unmasked U.S. citizen's name?
In general, yes, as would any Attorney General.
So that would also include Acting AG Sally Yates?
Same answer.
Did you?
Okay. Susan Rice, John Brennan, and the other day, Last week, Trey Gowdy asked Brennan if a foreign ambassador, one of the U.S. foreign ambassadors, may have, he said it vaguely rang a bell. Vaguely rang a bell. What the House subpoenas for Rice, Brennan, and Power in the unmasking probe mean. It's not all about Russia. The House Intelligence Committee has reportedly issued 7 subpoenas in connection with its investigation of Russian interference in the 2016 election and the Obama administration's potential illegal use of government's foreign intelligence collection, power of purpose of monitoring American citizens, in particular the Americans connected to Trump campaign and transition. When Donald Trump's campaign was in full swing and in transition, these are private citizens. You need to understand, these people are private citizens that they're unmasking their name. The news was broke Wednesday afternoon by the Wall Street Journal. The most intriguing detail of the subpoenas is the demand for any information related to requests for unmasking by Samantha Power. I keep saying Powers with an S, so it's Samantha Power. So this is big. The most intriguing detail. People are trying to figure that detail out. Why Samantha Power? This is intriguing because it vaguely rings a bell. Detail for subpoenas is demanding any information related to request for unmasking from Samantha Power, President Obama's ambassador to the United Nations. Unmasking is the revealing an intelligence report of the identities of Americans whose communication, or information about whom have been incidentally intercepted during foreign intelligence collections. So, Trey Gowdy is the only one. Can we get this out to America? This is the problem we have. Can we get this out before June? It is June 1st. I just realized that. June 20th. Watch. This is watch MSNBC's Joy Reid get rattled when confronted with Obama's Iran back channel. All right. So this is the one the other day where I know Kimberly Strassel is in big trouble this week. I think we might end with the show on that. Let me see what else I have here on the FISA court. Do I have any more pictures? Because we know Carter Page. We went through that, right?
No, you used them all.
I've used all my pictures today?
Yes.
I'll have to come up with some more.
No.
Folks, we told you on July 5th, James Comey ended his career. Trey Gowdy collected the evidence, okay? Not the clown. Not the clown, what's his name, out there in Minnesota. Oh, who's that clown that used to be on Saturday Night Live? Well, anyhow, I'll think of him in a minute. But not that clown out in Minnesota. Trey Gowdy, a true prosecutor. You see, I played that before. Who can unmask? This is the only true case there is. You can see Russia every day. I'm going to take a brief break. We're going to end it there. I got to come back and wrap up the show. I got a couple more things I want to do before the close of the show, and that's the end of that segment, Sam.